afraid to ask. It's the only way to know all the rules, all the regulations, and start navigating, these entrepreneurial.
Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to India-Italy's video episode series on exploring the path of female entrepreneurship in Italy. So, for our today's session, we have Maria Glezelli with us, and we have this great pleasure to have such a visionary founder behind Maria Glezelli Designs. Maria is a multi-preneur and a jewelry designer, and also the founder who's based in Florence, Italy. So we're really happy to have you on board, Maria. How are you doing?
I'm very good, Pooja. How about you?
Very, very well, Maria. It's actually a pleasure to have somebody who's actually been into the business and seen, uh, been in business exactly for a good amount of time and have them on board. I think. We're going to have a very insightful and a very engaging session today. So, Maria, why don't you tell us something about yourself?
Okay, so first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this podcast. I'm very excited to do that with you, Pooja. My name is Maria. I've been living in Florence for the past 3 years, and I'm a jewelry designer and founder of my own business, which I started from scratch 3.5 years ago. That time I was in London. This is where I founded my business, and now I'm here in Florence, trying to figure out all the differences between the two countries, of course. So I would like to narrate a bit, like tell you a bit more about myself. I
Yeah.
grew up in Greece.
Mhm.
I started my own little business um, as a jewelry designer back in like when I was 20 years old.
Mhm.
And I was selling here and there. And then I decided to move to London to work alongside jewelry designers so I can grow and learn more.
Mhm.
And with the pandemic, I decided to restart again from scratch and, create a new business in a more professional way this time, since I had more experience. So with the pandemic, I had the opportunity to do quite a lot.
Scaling up in UK and then starting off business in Italy. What is that unique thing that the Italian market had to offer or offered you in comparison to other countries or UK for that matter?
Hmm. Okay,
Mhm.
so coming to now,
Mhm.
I have been in Italy for the past 3 years, as I mentioned earlier, and one of the main reasons I came to Italy is because of the history, the craftsmanship. I was always admiring the Renaissance period. I was really really excited to live in Florence, the city of Renaissance, and I believe that each country has something to offer. So UK is and is a place where, as I said, dreams can come true because they're very organized and you can actually open a business by yourself without a lot of investment. And at the same time, you have the opportunity to meet a lot of entrepreneurs in the city. Italy has something different to offer, which is the attention to detail, artisans. It's the heart of art in Italy. So it gave me a lot of inspiration. It gives me a lot of inspiration. From a business point of view, it's harder because I would say that there are more difficulties and there are a lot of different laws that you need to navigate. But I would say that for someone who has already maybe lived in a different country and they have some experience, is doable, definitely. And as I said, every country has something to offer. For me, the fact that is such a creative space where you can connect with different artisans and entrepreneurs is unique.
Mhm. Yeah. So when you say that the culture or the format of business is different in Italy, and UK, it's kind of a ready model, what I could understand from the conversation. So if I may ask you, Maria, that when you thought of getting your business into Italy, and when you started off, um, how supportive did you feel was the Italian environment for you? Like, we did learn from you that UK is much open, because obviously it's a developed country. So is Italy. However, we've seen that their English being a common language, it simplifies things for a lot of people of different origin. However, Italy has what we've learned with our prior discussions, maybe a little conscious about the language. So if I may ask you, has this been any concern? And if not, how exactly the business space has been supportive for you?
Okay, so I do believe that in order to open a business in Italy, you need to speak Italian. So yes, I would definitely advise that. It would be possible to open a business without knowing the language, but you will need to have at least a very good accountant that speaks English. There are a lot of accountants that speak English in the city. But again, I would say that it's always better to speak the language, because otherwise it can be tricky and quite stressful. So, it doesn't worth it for me. For someone who would like to open a business in Italy, I guess if they are also living here, it would be nice to learn the language, even basic Italian, so they're able to understand at least basic things. Then everything else, the accountant will handle it anyway. Um, I would say that the main challenge here in Italy is not only the language, but also, as I said earlier, um, you will need to do a research when you decide to make a business, and you need to talk with several accountants to understand what is right and what is wrong, because there are a lot of different laws. So a lot of times accountants will reply different, they will give you different replies, and that is because not because this happens, not because they don't know, just because the laws are a lot. But again, that doesn't mean that if you make a mistake, you're gonna have a very big fine. Not at all. You just need to be a bit careful, conscious, and take little steps every time. That is my advice. Um, from my perspective, um, I would say that having a business that sells products is a bit harder as well, because it involves a physical product. So there are some extra difficulties. Obviously, if someone is selling a service, it's easier, I would say, or if it's just a freelancer living in Italy.
There were legal concerns, and there were also language barrier that you face. Other than this, if I may ask you, that somebody who's not from Italy, what other challenges did you face? And particularly, as you stated, that having a product business could be a little tricky, because there are delivery involved, there are invoices, and also you've started off right after pandemic. So if you can just tell us something about what were the challenges and how are you overcoming it? So yeah, happy to know.
Yes, of course. So first of all, the first thing I would like to say that it really changes a lot if you're a European citizen or a US citizen or any other citizen outside of Europe.
Mhm.
In this case, it's trickier. It's trickier because you need first to get residency.
Mhm.
That is the main reason. So I didn't face these issues. I have friends that they're Americans or they're coming from different countries that have been struggling a lot, mainly because there are specific procedures, legal procedures, that they take much more time in order
Mhm.
to get the permesso di soggiorno, which is the basically the a permit of residence to live in this country. And then I know that it can take quite a lot. It can expire and then wait 1 to 2 years to in order to get it. So this
Mhm.
can be tricky. So I would say that the first part for someone who would like to open a business in Italy, it would be this. Like the first, very, very first step is this. By the time you have residency, you can open a business, and it's there are not there are no limits on that, as far as I know. I faced, I would say, less difficulties because I'm a European citizen. And regarding the product, regarding a product business that I said, as I said earlier, I would say that Okay, so the first I would say challenge is logistics. So that is because, of course, is not only, like as I said, it's a physical product, so you need to ship it, you need to get in touch with couriers. It's a bit trickier than in the UK because in the UK, for example, you have more options. It can be cheaper to ship abroad, not extremely cheap, but it's easier to, again, to arrange a courier and like even open a business profile through them. Here you can do it, but it takes a bit more time. You definitely need to speak the language to communicate with them and again do your research, get some offers. And then all is fine. By the time you find your courier, you can ship your products. Also, in this case, I would say that the way I do it as well, as I am a small business, I always charge more for shipping. I know it's not ideal, but again, I'm a small business. I cannot cover the expenses that the cost of delivery because it's quite high. At least if you would like to collaborate to work with a legit and quite promising courier, someone that you know that you can really work with, like DHL, for example, or FedEx, all of these big couriers. So this is easily solvable, but you would definitely need to either to include, the shipping cost on the product, or otherwise the customer pays it by themselves. Other than that, the next is the fact that, when you are going to discuss with the accountant, they're going to charge you a bit more. So you will need to send them, the receipts, everything that you invoice for the customers. But again, this is not completely different from freelance position. So even if you're working as a freelancer in Italy, for example, you're a photographer and you would like to invoice, it's still the same. So it's not so much different. It's more the fact that it involves the courier, the shipping process. Then, of course, if you ship abroad, you will need to fill in all the documents, and it might be a bit more complicated than in the UK. So it might take a bit more time, or you might need to contact a few people in order to understand what is legal, what is not, etc.
If you have any parting words to share with us, we'll be happy to hear from you. If anything that you would like to tell WICCI as a platform or anything.
Thank you so much, Buza. It was really nice to do this podcast with you today. And since we're talking about women entrepreneurship, I would like to say, except for all this advice that I gave already, I would like to say to be more confident as a woman, not you, like whoever is listening to us. Please be more confident. Believe in yourself. Is the reason I create the brand for. Like I want the women to be proud of who they are, who they're coming from, especially for any woman who is moving from her country to a different country. This can be hard because you're going to face some kind of, not necessarily racism, but you feel kind of a stranger in this country. Even if it's a very close country, like in my case, I live in Italy and I've been from Greece, so it's a Mediterranean country, but still, you feel a stranger. So be confident, believe in yourself, and try to bring your uniqueness, your personality to anything that you do. It's the only way to differentiate. And don't be shy, don't be afraid to share your traditions with someone that has different tradition. I believe people are very open, and the more you are open as a person, as a woman, to share with them and show them how proud you are for who you are, the more people are going to accept it, and they're going to be actually quite excited to learn more about you and your business.
Thank you for that thought, Maria. I think that's a best takeaway we can have from the session. And on that note, I'll just we'll end our session, and we expect to have you on future sessions that we have, and also the panel discussion that we thought of. Definitely, we'll have it. And on that end, I'll just end the session. A very good evening, and thank you for making time for us. If you have any parting words to share with us, we'll be happy to hear from you.